Hello. We're going to practice Unit 12 of the course A2, and the lesson concentrates on the comparative form of the adjective and the pronunciation of the past tense regular verbs. That's the ed at the end of regular verbs, which is a little problem. We will try to understand better how to pronounce these words. To start with, we're going to read a list from the unit of set phrases. This is the target language. We're going to read very slowly first in phonetics, reading from the phonetics, very slowly, very carefully. This will help your pronunciation. Then we're going to read in a natural way from the English. So I will say the line in from the phonetics. Then you have the opportunity to repeat, and then we will read it in English and you repeat. Mimic the way that I read so that you are pronouncing and using the same kind of fluency. Okay, let's look at the lesson for today. Okay, let's start. You can listen, read, and repeat. Okay, I'm going to start with the first line. Who did you invite to the party? Who did you invite to the party? How much champagne do we need? How much champagne do we need? Have we got enough glasses? Have we got enough glasses? Have we got enough food? Have we got enough food? The 10th of April 2021. The 10th of April 2021. The 3rd of June 1999. The 3rd of June 1999. How much money? How much money? Do you spend every month? Do you spend every month? How many credit cards? How many credit cards do you have? Do you have? Do you listen to the radio? Do you listen to the radio? Can I look at your paper? Can I look at your paper? Could you wait for me, please? Could you wait for me, please? Germany is bigger than Austria. Germany is bigger than Austria. Portugal is smaller than Spain. Portugal is smaller than Spain. When's your birthday? When's your birthday? On the 24th of October. On the 24th of October. Who wrote Alice in Wonderland? Who wrote Alice in Wonderland? When was it written? When was it written? Which river is longer? Which river is longer? The Tiber or the Thames? The Tiber or the Thames? What's the tallest building in New York? What's the tallest building in New York? Italian wine. Italian wine is exported worldwide. Is exported worldwide. English and French. English and French are spoken in Canada. Are spoken in Canada. Who do you know in Quebec? Who do you know in Quebec? What did you study? What did you study? At university. At university. I studied biology. I studied biology. When did you graduate? When did you graduate? I graduated 2 years ago. I graduated 2 years ago. Okay, let's look at the second part. The same procedure. Listen, read, and repeat. Which is more difficult? Which is more difficult? Korean or Japanese? Korean or Japanese? I don't know. I don't know. Which is bigger? Which is bigger? Tokyo or Shanghai? Tokyo or Shanghai? I'm not sure. I'm not sure. That's a difficult question. That's a difficult question. Steve lived in Rome. Steve lived in Rome when he was a little boy. When he was a little boy. His father was a journalist. His father was a journalist. His mother worked. His mother worked at the British Embassy. At the British Embassy. Steve went to an international school. Steve went to an international school. He can speak English. He can speak English, French and Italian. French and Italian. Now he wants to study. Now he wants to study political science. Political science. At university. At university. What did you do last summer? What did you do last summer? We went to Australia. We went to Australia. We stayed there for a month. We stayed there for a month. Then we spent a week. Then we spent a week in New Zealand. In New Zealand. The weather wasn't bad. The weather wasn't bad. But it was cold in the south. But it was cold in the south. When it's summer in Europe, when it's summer in Europe, it's winter in Australia. It's winter in Australia. It's cold in winter. It's cold in winter. It's warm in spring. It's warm in spring. It's hot in summer. It's hot in summer. It's cool in autumn. It's cool in autumn. Did you enjoy the show? Did you enjoy the show? Yes, I did. Yes, I did. It was better than I expected. It was better than I expected. Was the test difficult? Was the test difficult? No, it wasn't. No, it wasn't. It was easier than I thought. It was easier than I thought. Okay, now practice this group as many times as you can. Each time that you practice, you are improving your pronunciation because you're also listening and you're speaking to a certain extent. You can use the link below to open the document and look up the words, the sentences. You can use Google Translate to see the translation in your own language if you don't understand the sentences. Now let's look at some grammar from this lesson. Okay, we're going to start with Unit 12, and the first idea is Comparisons. The same as, similar to, and different from. Okay, look at the pictures A, B, C, and D. A and B. A is the same as B. A and B are the same. Are the same. We need to pronounce this with the article, the same. A and C. A is similar to C. A is similar to C. B is also similar to C. They are similar. A and D. A is different to or different from D. A and D are different. Also, C and D are different. Okay, you can do exercise 1 if you have the access to the exercises. Let's look at the comparative using ER and more. Okay, you can use adjectives to compare two people or two things. When the adjective has one syllable, the form of the adjective changes. The adjective is followed by the word than. Okay, let's look at the example. Germany is bigger than Austria. Big is the adjective with one syllable. Big. If the one-syllable adjective ends in one vowel and one consonant, you must double the consonant. So, in fact, big finishes with a consonant, and there is a vowel before the consonant. So you have a consonant-vowel-consonant combination. In that case, you must double. Also, fat, you double, fatter. Thin, you double, thinner. Hot, you double, hotter. Small, you double, smaller. All of these adjectives have one syllable. If the adjective ends in Y, you can change the Y to I and add ER. Many two-syllable adjectives are like this. Jane is prettier than Mary. Pretty finishes with a Y, so we substitute the Y with an I and we add the ER. Funny, substitute the Y and add ER. Happy, substitute the I and add ER. So prettier, funnier, happier. These are two-syllable words, two syllables, happy. You can use more in front of adjectives that have two or more syllables. Remember that two-syllable adjectives that end in Y use ER. More interesting. Portugal is more interesting than Spain. Interesting has three syllables, so we have interesting. In this case, we use more. We don't use the ER final. Famous, more famous. Important, more important. Interesting, more interesting. The comparative forms of good, bad, and far are irregular. French wine is better than California wine. So from good, we have better. Good, better. From bad, we have worse. And from far, we have farther or further. These are the irregular adjectives. There are no others you have to learn. You can do the exercises if you have the access. Simple past tense, the regular verbs. Okay, the pronunciation of words ending in ED depends on the final consonant sound. There are three ways to pronounce ED at the end of the word. Ed, t, or d. Those are three different sounds, okay? Let me just emphasize this point. ED are letters. These letters go on the end of a regular verb. So start, I start the lesson. Started is the past tense. We just add ed to the end of the word. Those are the letters, but the sound is different. There are 3 different sounds of the letters representing E and D. So those sounds are ed, t, and t, and d, d. Okay, let's look at those a little bit closer. We have the last consonant with d. Okay, so the last consonant is D. You see need, want. The last consonant is a T, or the last consonant is a D. Okay, let me just last consonant T or last consonant D. Okay, so this happens with T ending verbs and D ending verbs. Wanted finishes with T, needed finishes with need, finishes with D. So the T is the unvoiced sound. It does not use the vocal cords. So we have P, the last consonant is P, it's unvoiced. What does that mean? Unvoiced means that you don't use vocal cords. T, t is just a sound in the front of your mouth. Also, P, P, P is a sound in the front of your mouth. In this case, the ED letters represent the sound T. So, help becomes helped. Look becomes looked. Sniff becomes sniffed. Laugh becomes laughed, because the last sound is f. This is not voiced. Wash becomes washed. The last sound is sh. There is no voice. Watch becomes watched. The last sound is ch. That's not a voiced sound. Kiss, kissed. The last consonant s. Danced, danced. The last consonant is the same sound, s. Danced. Fixed. The last consonant X, it's a sound of S. Fixed. So, unvoiced sounds like S, Ch, Sh, F finish with T on the ED sound. Instead, the D is a voiced sound. It actually uses the vocal cords. You can touch your throat and feel duh. There is a vibration. So call that finishes with which is a voice sound, uses d. Called, called. Clean, cleaned. The last consonant is n. It's voiced. Offered is offered. Offer. The last consonant is voiced. Damage, damaged. The last consonant is j, j. It's voiced. Love, loved. The last consonant is v. That's voiced. Used, used. Sorry, use, used. The last consonant is z. That's the sound of the S that is voiced. Z. Amazed. The last sound is z. Amaze, amazed. Rub, rubbed. The last sound is b, b, rubbed. Okay, this is very difficult because this is one syllable. We do not add an extra syllable for the ed. Rubbed. There's just a cluster of consonants, B and D, rubbed. Claim, claimed, is voiced. Okay, let's look at words that end in a vowel sound. For this, you just add ed. Follow, followed. Okay, so it's the D sound. Enjoy, enjoyed. The D sound. Play, played. So you have the D sound here. Try, tried. You have the D sound. Continue, continued. So you have all of the vowel sounds that finish with this D. Okay? Let's look at the spelling. We saw in the past tense we have, the addition of the doubled letter at the end. This is very, very similar with the spelling of the ed words. The end of a verb that ends with a consonant and the e, we just add d. So smile, smiled. Smile is a voiced sound, so we have smiled. Erase, erased. Erase, that's not voiced, so we have erased. Just add the D. One vowel and one consonant, double the consonant. Okay, this is the same as we saw with the adjective stop, stopped. Okay, this is a cluster. It's just stopped, one syllable. P is not voiced, so we add t, stopped. Rub, b is voiced, rubbed. We double those end consonants, rubbed. Two vowels plus one consonant, add the ed, do not double. Rain, rained. So there's no doubling. The n is n, it's voiced, so we have rained. Need, need finishes with d. It's got two vowels before, so there's no doubling. This is pronounced needed because we must add another syllable to this word. Need, needed. Okay, with two consonants, you just add the ed. You do not double. Okay, so we have count, counted, help, helped. Okay, there are two consonants, so you don't double. Count finishes with T, so you're adding the syllable D. Added, count, counted, help, helped. P is voiced, so we have helped. Sorry, that's unvoiced, P, so it's unvoiced. D, T. Helped. Duh. Consonant plus Y, you change the Y to I and add ed, just like the adjective. Study, studied. Carried, carried. Okay, if you have the vowel with the Y, you just add ed, you don't change Y to I. Play, played. Enjoy, enjoyed. Count, counted. Okay, those are finishing with a Y, but there is a vowel before the Y. Okay, you can do the exercises. When in time clauses. Okay, when can introduce a time clause. When we use the subject and the verb, we use a time clause. Steve lived in Rome when he was a little boy. When responds to the time. I could say Steve lived in Rome in 2020. Okay, this is the time, so we are using a time clause with the past tense. Okay, notice that the noun Steve comes before the pronoun he. Here I introduce the subject. Here I substitute with the pronoun, the personal pronoun, subject pronoun. Okay? More irregular verbs: bring, brought, drive, drove, run, ran, buy, bought, read, read, teach, taught, catch, caught, ride, rode, think, thought, drink, drank. Okay, you can do the exercises if you have those access. Passive. In a passive sentence, the object of the active verb becomes the subject of the passive verb. French and English are spoken in English. English and French, that is the subject of the passive verb. Okay, so the action of the verb we do not know. We do not know who does the action. So I'm using the object of an active verb. Spoke, I speak English. English is spoken. Tom helped Mary. Mary is the subject of the verb. Tom is the object. So we can say Tom is helped by Mary. Now Tom becomes the subject of the passive verb. Tom is the subject. Notice that the subject of the active verb is followed by in a passive sentences. These two sentences have the same meaning. The participle or the third form of the verb is used with the auxiliary to be. So helped is the third form, spoken is the third form, are is the auxiliary, to be is the auxiliary to be. Okay, French and English are spoken. Subject, auxiliary to be, and the participle. Okay, now if you want to practice the group again, I will give you also the link in the notes for the lesson. You can prepare here with part A, the phonetics. You have 32, and then part B, the phonetics and the English. Okay, here they are separated in a different way, but you can do that. And very, very interesting online. If you want to do the second step, you can practice your pronunciation with this app that I have that is accessible, especially with Chrome, but I see that you can also use it with Edge. You cannot use this app with the smartphone. So you start, there are some options here. You can auto move to the next phrase. You can ring, success ring. You can read the phrase. This is my setting. I prefer these settings. And so I must pronounce now the group. Let me just go back to the beginning. There is part A here and part B. So let's do part A. Okay, listen. I'm going to record. Who did you invite to the party? You see, I got a ring, and that means that it's good, and I can move on. Let's try again. How much champagne do we need? How much champagne do we need? Okay, so I have, let me just show you what happens if it makes a mistake. Have we got enough glasses? Okay, you see, it's telling me that I had a problem with this part, so I'm going to try to do it again. I can also listen. Have we got enough glasses? You see, and that's good. So you can use this preparation step. This is after you prepare the first part, the preparation step 1, which is I will give you the link for this here, part B. So that is basically unit 12. The concentration here is on the pronunciation of the ed verbs, and a little practice with the comparatives. Okay, I hope you enjoyed the lesson. Thank you very much.